It's Wednesday, you know what that means. It is time for the latest live weekly event from Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. This week, we're going to the Japan Motor Show, valid from today up until the 15th of January. Experience the Japan Motor Show this week. Solar Crown is celebrating the quality of Japanese cars with the exclusive reward of the Sakura black sweatshirt. It's a jumper, it is what it is. I would have preferred a livery for some of the Japanese cars, but let's take a look at what we have in store this week. First of all, 37 Turn Z, 5 mile domination, 100% asphalt on a clear dawn race in the Nissan 370Z with a max RP of 560. I don't yet own a Nissan 370Z. I will have to go and purchase one for that race specifically. Over to the Nissan Jewel, a 2.72 lap circuit race, 100% asphalt, clear at night time. That's suspicious. It is based on Nissan cars with a max RP of 630. And then lastly, we do have the rise of the GTR, a 3.5 mile sprint, 100% asphalt, clear, daytime in the Nissan GTR R35 with a max RP of 780. Interesting that they've called this the Japan Motor Show, where it's all based around Nissans. Interesting, but like I mentioned, guys, I have went and purchased a Nissan 370Z, stuck some upgrades on it, a little bit of a tune. Never spent all too much time having to get this video put together nice and quickly. I'm off on holiday as soon as this video is up and loaded onto YouTube. Going away for a week or so. Lots of videos still to come out, guys, so there's still going to be content, but I wanted to get this video put together for you all today. Let's head on over to that first race using the 370Z in the 37 Turn Z race, 5 mile domination, clear, 100% asphalt, once again max RP of 560. It's going to be good to use the 370Z for the first time, of course. It was one of the first cars we could have chosen in game. I personally chose the Alpine. We could have chose the Alpine, the Mustang or the 370Z. I went with the Alpine, so we've now have to obviously go over and buy the 370Z, experience what this thing's going to be like. Yeah, at least we're getting some power behind this one as well. Up through the early turns here, carrying as much speed as we can up through the right-hander. The back end just stepping out on us a little bit. I was cautious of the AI trying to dive bomb us down the inside there, so we did manage to avoid any tangles with the AI in the early sections. Pushing up through the hills, trying to carry as much speed as we can, keeping it on track and trying to stay off of those curves on the right-hand side. A little bit of the slide on the 370. For this race specifically, I have got these stock road tyres, bolted on as many upgrades as I could to get as much power as I could. Haven't focused on a grip build here, I have specifically focused on a full speed build to try to get as much out of the 370Z as possible. So yeah, I think for the most part, all race spec upgrades or the top upgrades on the engine, one upgrade on the brakes, stock tyres, stock suspension, stock gearbox, try to get this thing as powerful as we could. As for a balance, the car's actually balancing quite well here. A couple of tunes or a couple of tweaks done to the tune of this one, and we can see it's actually handling the power upgrades quite well, considering we've done no upgrades to the suspension. As we do come uphill, it doesn't feel like a 400 horsepower car, which is all good. In through these turns right here, we can see those standard road tyres locking up just a little bit with the brakes, sliding coming out of the corner, putting the power down. We are giving up a lot of grip with the build for this one, but I wanted this 370Z to be as fast as I could to get through the course as quickly as possible. We've got a fairly good lead as we're about 50% of the way through this. As we do come up into the mountain section, we know we've got a lot of switchbacks coming up here. Coming into these left-hand, right-hands, I try my hardest not to use any brakes. We're carrying a 2.7 second lead. And as we do come into these turns, we can see right here, I'm trying not to touch the brakes. Turning into these uphill turns is going to be enough to slow the car down and carry as much speed as we can. A little bit of a kink on that with a little bit of a lump on the apex of the corner, kicking the back end of the 370 out. In through these next couple though, yeah, just carry the speed into it, guys. Back off the throttle, get the power down as soon as we can. The 370's handling these corners magnificently well without using the brakes, letting the gravity of the course here slow the car down enough through these corners. Through that last left-hander, get the power down as soon as we can, out to the right-hand side, cut back over to the left, clip apex number 1, apex number 2, power back down onto this apex, and we're kind of on a clean run here. The 370Z, in my opinion, is actually a very well balanced car. Don't know why I never chose it to start with. I would probably have to go back and watch the first video. Tricky little section here. Got a hairpin right, just tapping that curb and get the power down, let the back end swing round on us, and we can push forward with the rest of this race around about, what's that, 25% or so left of this one, and we've got a clear lead on the rest of the pack. We've got max points so far in this domination race. Going a little bit wide on that right hander, we probably could have hit that apex a little bit tighter and stayed onto the throttle. Downshift into this left-hander, run that apex, double apex it is indeed, right round it, into another left-hander, back off the throttle just a little bit, turn over to the right-hand side. We want to try and make a straight line out of the end of this race as best as possible, to be able to carry as much time as we can to cross the finish line. Clearly in first place, we've went through every checkpoint in first place. It's going to be an easy win here for race number 1 in the 370Z. Last couple of turns, or kinks in the road right there, but indeed we do cross out the domination race in first place, maxing out 1,600 points. So for race number 1, 370Z, fantastic. Actually very much enjoyed using that one. I'm probably going to use this car a little bit more. Kind of get a feeling, I missed a little bit there, not taking that as the first car of choice in TDU. I chose to go with the Alpine to be a bit different. Yeah, kind of regret that now. The 370Z, I've fairly enjoyed using it in that race just there. As I mentioned, a fully power build for that one. We'll head on over to race number 2, the Nissan Duel, the 2-lap circuit race, 100% asphalt, any Nissan we can use, 630 RP max on this one. And for this race, I chose to use the Nissan GTR. And it's for a very specific reason. I really wanted to use the 370Z for this one. But as always, we're in Hong Kong, and in Hong Kong, we get rain. When we're in the stadium here, we've got rain. We've got a wet track. Maybe not rain falling, but we do have a wet road surface. We can see the spray coming off the tyres here. I did try it with the 370Z. I actually set a fairly decent time. I think it was around about 2 minute 37. But yeah, we kind of need a bit more grip, and we know the GTR here, as unstable as it was through that early turn, has got a hell of a lot more grip. So I did move over to the GTR, stock road tyres, just used the auto RP change for this one, let the game pick the tune essentially. Just wanted to get through it. I'm very happy to actually be back in Hong Kong. Kind of missed racing here, kind of missed the bigger variety that we have in Hong Kong. Of course, a phenomenal amount of races on Hong Kong Island opposed to Ibiza. I'm going to be venturing back here very soon with some of the videos, maybe not for another week or two, but I'm going to be coming back here bringing some of the Celine cars over as well to test them on these tracks. But specifically the stadium, I don't feel there's enough races on this part of the map as it is. We have a fully fledged race course in game, and I personally don't feel there's enough races on it, so to be able to use it in this week's live weekly race event in the GTR, I'm very happy about that. It's wet, it's slidey, potentially a lack of grip, so the GTR for me is going to be the OP car here. You can see from the leaderboard as well, it's already the OP car. We're already boxing out lap number 1. The GTR, very well balanced for it, absolutely no surprise, a phenomenal car, probably one of my favourite cars of all time if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Into turn 1 though, we want to pick the right braking zone, we want to get back on the power nice and early, clip the apex on the right, push over to that apex on the left, in through the next turn, again try to clip that apex as much as we can. We can see the curve has actually pushed us over to the left hand side is where we wanted to be, so we could try and open up this little corner into the left hander, again riding the curbs, come out wide, try and get as much power as we can, and we punch it down this straight. Move over to the left hand side of the track. We've got a big sweeping right hander here, we want to be on the left hand side, bring it over to the right hander, again we lose a little bit of stability there, not managing to get our apex on point. Come out of that corner, again over to the right hand side, bring us back to the left, try and clip that apex, we don't quite get it this time out. It's a bit slidey, we can see the lack of traction we have got here, struggling to match up and catch as many apexes as I would have liked to have done. But we'll cross out lap number 2, set a fairly decent time here, but another easy win in race number 2 for this week's live weekly race events in the Nissan GTR. And of course we've still got one more race to go. Don't know why I'm on the map there. We want to push straight over and head on over to race number 3, which is of course the Nissan GTR specific race. Kind of wanted for this week to keep the GTR solely for that race, use the 370Z as much as I possibly could, but it's not the way it's worked out, it's the way the cookie crumbles. We've had a wet race for number 2, we'll push over for race number 3 in the GTR specific race. Kind of touched on it a little earlier, I would have preferred to have seen more Japanese cars this week. So obviously the week's titled Japanese Weekly Race Event. The fact that we don't actually have that many Japanese cars in game, we don't actually have that many Nissans in game essentially itself. There is a lack of cars in game. We already know that. We spoke about it previously in the comments, we spoke about it on Discord. The lack of cars in game is a bit of an issue. Where's the R34s, R33s, R32 Skylines? Where are the Mazda RX-7s, the MX-5s? Where's the Mitsubishi Evolutions, the Subaru Imprezas, BRZs, whatever it might be, Toyota Celicas? There's a lot of cars that I feel need to be added to the game that are in most other racing games. So for it to be a Jap Fest, a Jap week, we really do need a lot more cars. As it is, we're in a Jap week using the Nissans that we have to hand, the 370Zs and the Nissan GTRs. Yeah, we'll make do with what we've got, guys. We'll head on over the third and final race for today, Rise of the GTR, 3.5 mile sprint, 100% asphalt. This one is going to be a clear day race in the R35. Yeah, let's launch it and see what this one's like. We have obviously got our custom livery attached to our GTR for this one. I like it. I would have liked to have done more with the livery, but there's a bit of a restriction when building it. It is built and it is the way it is, so we'll use it. Launching the GTR for line, having a little bit of a tangle with a couple of AI cars here. We do lose the back end. Once again, I have gone with standard road tyres, giving up a bit of grip, dive bombing the GTR into this little turn here, working out quite well for us. Get it off that corner nicely, hopefully pull out a bit of a stretch of a lead here. But like I was kind of talking about there, I've given up grip for the GTR build once again here, have gone for power over grip, so standard road tyres, auto RP to let the game essentially build the components to the car here, but it's largely focused towards power over grip. It's a big race, it's a big sprint, and it's a single category race, which I absolutely love, having the same single category races throughout the weekly event. This one obviously specifically for the Nissan GTR R35. So it's going to be a good test to see how much quicker our build is over the rest of the pack. Coming in through these right-hand hairpins rather, it's lively, it's leery, we've got a lack of grip, but we use that to our advantage. We managed to get some four-wheel drifts, some big power slides onto it, once again into the left-hander. Let this thing flow around, get the power on nice and early, let the back end kick round on the GTR, carry as much speed as we can up into a very tricky crest on that right-hander just there. It does send us over the track, but we do manage to keep it between the white lines. Cut a little bit of that curb just there, managing to miss the lamppost. We haven't actually taken out a mandatory lamppost in today's video, surprisingly enough. But the GTR giving up a bit of grip does seem to be the way forward with this one. It's not the slippiest or slidiest of tracks, so using the standard road tyres, focusing on power more than grip, for me is the way forward for this one to probably set some of the fastest times. We're already 65% of the way through the sprint. It's absolutely flew by this week, guys. Double left-hander just there, in through the right-hander, carrying as much speed as I possibly can, trying to keep it nice and tight to the right-hand side. We have got a hairpin coming up here, a left-hand hairpin, stretching out the gears, come back down into that one, get the power down again, let the back end slide if it has to. We want to get power down as early as we can, up through this little snaking section, keeping it nice and tight to the lefts and the rights, back off, downshift, up through the left-hander, and we push up through the last little section, left hand into the right hand, power all the way down, guys, foot flat to the floor to push forward and cross the line here. Just backing off a little bit, downshifting, that tightened up a lot more than I thought it was going to through the right-hander, but we'll push forward to the finish line, win race number 3, and box off what has been, in my opinion, a fantastic weekly event from Test Drive Unlimited. Like we can see, only 70 points required for this week's event, so only 7 races if you win all 7 to win the reward, which is of course that Sakura sweatshirt in black, another cosmetic avatar cosmetic for rewards this week. I would have liked a livery for the 370Z or the Nissan GTR, but it is what it is. In my opinion, we have just capped off a fantastic weekly event. It was almost perfect. If we had more Japanese cars to use, it would have made it sensational. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will also agree. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, tap on the bell selecting all of the notifications, and leave a little comment in the video. Helps feed that YouTube algorithm. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.